Feels like a good night to be an Ash vs. Evil Dead fan. I keep coming back for the stuff that I love, the great one-liners, the batshit fight sequences, and a ton of colorful blood and gore. And yeah, Season 3, Episode 4 has that, but Unfinished Business is a standout because of the curious new plot details it reveals that enhances the mystery and the stakes of the story and just puts the season on a really interesting and unpredictable path. But, as I said, it's still got blood and gore, and that's where Unfinished Business kicks off. We get Ash cleaning up the Brock carnage from the last episode, but that doesn't mean that it's the end of Lee Majors as Brock on the show, because while chopping up and trashing the body, Ghost Brock appears, and it's a good Brock, or better Brock than last episode. We get another wonderful blend of real heart and just the right amount of humor as the two of them chat, and Ash reveals to Brock that he's actually a grandfather. Turns out Brock has a surprise for Ash as well, because remember when Brock tells Ash he's got a super important secret right before getting run over by the Delta in Season 2, Episode 3? Well, we're finally gonna find out what that secret is in flashback mode. But before we get to that point of the episode, we get a major what-the-you-know-what moment. Before the opening title card, Kelly comes back to the house with the dagger looking for Ash. Brandy happens to come back home to get her phone. The two agree to stick together, so they hop in the car, and that's when a deadite Pablo shows up. The three go at it during a very well-shot close-quarters fight scene, during which deadite Pablo bites Kelly. Kelly and Brandy manage to get out of the car, lock themselves in the RV to keep clear of Pablo and his excellent deadite one-liners. As much as I want Pablo to live happily ever after, Ray Santiago makes a great deadite. While chatting in the RV, Kelly comes kind of close to getting Brandy to believe what's going on and that her dad isn't all that bad, but then Kelly starts to feel the effects of the bite, and then we get what might be one of the most gloriously disturbing visions of this entire series. It is Pablo's mouth coming through the bite mark. It's weird how something can feel so show appropriate, but also like the most out of left field thing ever. All the creativity points to the folks behind this episode for that one. While all that's going on, Brock and Ash are taking their stroll down memory lane. Back in Brock's hardware store in the year 2012, someone comes in looking for Ash. This guy shows Brock the missing pages that were torn out of the Necronomicon. He starts talking about his ancestors' fight against the darkness, and then sure enough, it's revealed that this guy has a Knights of Sumeria ring on. So there goes my theory of all the knights looking like Dalton. But anyway, apparently these lost pages explain how to destroy the evil, which would be super helpful to Ash right now, but 2012 Brock didn't go for it, kicked this poor guy down the stairs and killed him. And on top of that, he didn't even bother calling the police. He just sealed up the basement and left him there. And that right there is Brock's big secret, and it also happens to be why Ash never knew that the hardware store had a basement. There is a bright side to this whole mess, though, because the body and the pages should still be down there. They break down the door to the basement, but no body. And in Ash vs. Evil Dead, no body usually means there's probably a deadite. But much to my surprise, the guy was actually really dead. And instead, this scene is meant to introduce a pretty major reveal, a whole bunch of text and symbols scrawled on the wall, including a window into another world or dimension, maybe? Whatever it is, that's where Brandy's friend Rachel is, because Ash sees her. Turns out something similar is happening for Ruby as well. At her house, she's gazing through another window into the Necronomicon, and she sees not Rachel there, but Kaya, the person Dalton told us about in his legend. And get ready now, because there's a lot of key information in this scene that you're going to want to remember. Kaya wants Ruby to free her, since her soul was bound in the Necronomicon when she tried to use it. If Ruby does this, Kaya will stand by her. Ruby agrees, but she has to find a suitable host first. But the more immediate issue involves a portal to the netherworld that could allow the Dark Ones to break free. So they've got to find it and close it. Presumably, the Knights of Sumeria are the ones that caused this rift, and Kaya explains that one of the knights, Dalton of course, made contact with the prophesized one, Ash. In order to find this particular knight, Ruby has to go back to where the book was first unleashed in these times, the cabin. And this is the answer to my question from last week. Is that the end of Dalton? kind of. Ruby brings him back to life, but he refuses to tell her where the portal is, and then he shoots himself. So is that the end of Dalton? I'm actually still thinking it's a no on that for some reason. While Ruby's with Dalton, Ash uses the last-minute info he gets from Brock in order to find the original Miss Previtt's house where Ruby is currently staying. He breaks in and he finds her demon baby, who's actually toddler-sized now, and after a wonderfully hilarious silent attempt to free the poor babysitter, they wake the kid up anyway, and it goes demon on them before the episode cuts to the end credits. So, a whole lot of questions here. Let's start with the weirder but the simpler one, I guess. Is Kelly gonna be walking around with Pablo's mouth growing through her bite wound for a while now? Sounds awkward, but I wouldn't mind a few more laughs from that gag. And also, what about Pablo? This can't be the end of him. He's gotta get to Brujo, but now how's he gonna do it? Do Kelly and Brandy help him snap out of it? Or maybe his soul is trapped where Rachel's is and he can find Brujo there, but Brujo was killed by Elagos and never went deadite, so can his soul even be there? I assume it is a place for souls bound to the book like Kaya's, which also begs the question, does its existence mean the souls who were turned into deadites are safe and can be brought back? Because that could undo a lot of deaths in the show, so it'd be a really big additional detail. And normally, I don't like when shows and movies find loopholes to erase the tragedies of the past like that, but given what Ash vs. Evil Dead is and what's happened during the series so far, I do suspect it wouldn't have much convincing to do to get me to buy into an idea like that. No matter how all this pans out, there's no doubt that unfinished business just hurled the season forward, and I think it did it by adding a number of great new details that have a ton of potential. So kudos to first-time Ash vs. Evil Dead writer Nikki Paluga, who's also the season's supervising producer, and first-time Ash director Daniel Netheim, who I believe might be back for episode 5 too. I'm also really enjoying the powerful underlying heart I saw in the last episode and now in this one too. Yes, the show can be super silly, but I think the reason that it is so exhilarating and suspenseful is because you're encouraged to care about the characters. That quality has just gotten stronger and stronger throughout the entire series, and I really dug how they placed the spotlight on it during Candace's funeral for Brandy, and now also for the moments with Ash and Brock. They'll always pick on each other, but there is some real love there, and you really see it during that time when Brock is talking to the Knight of Sumeria in 2012 about all this evil ruining his son's life, and again when Ash and Brock talk about Brandy. There's a lot of silliness here, but the performances always give you the impression that the characters care, and in turn, so do I. So that is my review and recap of Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3, Episode 4. But of course, now I need your thoughts. Hit that comment section, share some thoughts and predictions right there. And now it is time for a Patreon shout out. Today's video goes out to longtime supporters Dylan Delgado, Lewis, and Dylan Steiner. Again, these are guys who have been with the campaign for a while now, so I have thanked them numerous times, but it'll never be enough. Dylan, and Lewis, really thank you. Your support means a lot to me, and thanks to everybody watching this video right now. Be sure to like and share it, and I'll see you next week on Sunday to review Episode 5, Baby Proof.